Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets Daily Picture International with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 13th of September, 2023. So yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner in there, and I'll be back in a bit. So, okay, now then, before we go further, as always, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website. Just bear with me one moment. Where it is? There we go. That's the one. So yep, just our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Yeah, for sure. That's always the case. So look, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So look, not much is happening, to be honest. I cannot really say anything new apart from the fact that, yes, we are still kind of oscillating around that 50-day EMA. We don't have much data. Today we got the Japanese PPI numbers that came out on the month-on-month and year-on-year basis. So the PPI, the year-on-year one, came out the same as forecasted, 3.2, but that's below the previous adjusted 3.4. The month-on-month figure managed to beat the expectation and came out at plus 0.3 against the plus 0.1. So that's a good result here. Maybe that's why we're not seeing much kind of, let's say, selling. Because as you know, yesterday the stock market did decline a little bit, let's put it this way. Not much maybe, but yes, we saw the futures, Nikkei futures, drifting nicely to the downside, closer to this 50-day EMA, but so far we are trading still above that 50-day EMA. So for now, what I'm watching here is, like I said, yes, there is potential maybe for a bit of a retracement back to the upside here towards this downside line, which look, maybe it could play out nicely here. So this one right here, we do have a nice touch here, and then the third one right there. So yes, as long as we remain above the 50-day EMA, that there is a good chance for this one to drift nicely to the upside here towards this downside line, and then we'll take it from there. Of course, if it starts falling below the 50-day EMA, yes, don't get me wrong, I'm leaning then more towards the downside. But I have to admit that the fact that we're currently oscillating around the 50-day EMA, that does not put any like kind of any clarity into all this. So that's why we are just for now observing the price action. China 50 index. So yes, this one continues to be a little bit of a roller coaster ride, to be honest, without any clarity. And so far, yes, I mean, we're trading around here in this territory. And look, I talked about this. Let me get rid of this arrow, no longer needed. I talked about this previously. I said too that I need to see a clearance of one of these levels, either on the upside, the 12,727, because at the same time we will climb above the 50-day EMA and potentially attract more buyers into the game here. And maybe, just maybe, we could see a break of this downside line right here. So yeah, something like that. In terms of the downside, a drop below the 12,500 territory here would be ideal. And then, yes, potentially more sellers could join in, but only up until this upside support line drawn from the low of the 1st of June. And that would be my first target for the downside, because, look, I don't want to I don't want to kind of rush into anything yet on this one. Yes, look, it looks a little bit more on the bearish side, but again, a confirmation break is needed, at least in order to target lower levels in the near term. ASX 200. So this one declined heavily. Look, in terms of economic data, we didn't get much today in general from Australia. No, but I think that the stock market, I think that we got this reaction mainly to the fact that that the US indices yesterday declined. Europe initially was feeling the heat. But then it stabilized during the US session. So, I mean, I'm talking about the futures. So, yes, that's the tricky bit right now. I mean, at the moment, we're really unsure what's going to happen. And of course, one of the big data sets that are coming out today, which everybody will be watching carefully, and that will be the US CPI numbers that are coming out today. So, something for you to keep in mind, guys, that we might see some nice, good old action again in the stock market and some currency pairs in the commodity sector as well. So just let's keep an eye on that one. So in terms of, let's say, potential targets here and potential levels, breakout levels for ASX 200. Look, given that we're stuck in this territory right now, I really don't like it, and I would rather wait for a break through one of these trend lines. So for example, given that we're currently closer to this short-term upside support line drawn from the low of the 25th of August, I will say that there is a chance for this one to break and go a little bit to the downside. But of course, anything can happen. At the moment, we're just oscillating around the EMAs. Yes, we dropped below all of the EMAs, but currently all the EMAs kind of, especially the 50 and the 100, are coinciding with each other. So that's why at this point, I'm just observing the price action. Although, yes, we are below the EMAs right now, but we're still struggling with this upside line drawn from the low of the 25th of August. So long story short, if you're looking for some upside, then yes, a break of this downside line is required. If you're looking for some downside, at least a break of this for the upside, a break of the downside line is required. For the upside, a break of the upside line is needed. At least then we could aim for this upside support line drawn from the low of the 10th of July, and then we will take it from there. Dow Jones Industrial Average. The picture here is that we are still waiting. And look, I talked about this yesterday, and I said to you that we need to see some sort of like a break here through one of the trend lines. And so far, we got a tease yesterday. That's fine, but we failed to stay above it, so above the downside line. So at the moment, we're the theory that we're coiling up is working out nicely. And that means that, yes, more kind of it's more intriguing, or what's the word? There is a lot of intrigue. I don't know if I'm using this word correctly, to be honest, in English language, but yes, intriguing. There we go. That's the word. Intriguing. To know that, look, we have a potential kind of idea here for a breakout to the upside, but we need that confirmation break, and we're currently coiling up. And in general, I would say it's kind of coming all together nicely, because like I said, today we do have the CPIs, and today we could see some interesting numbers coming out. So look, at the moment, for example, the idea is that that the year-on-year headline CPI should come out like higher than the previous. The previous one is 3.2. The forecast is for 3.6. Okay, maybe it'll come out higher, don't get me wrong, maybe not, but like in general, I think the market is anticipating a higher headline number than the core, because the core number is expected to decline a little bit. And the reason for that is because like the core does not take into consideration food and energy prices, and we know that lately oil has been rising. So yes, so we await for the news today. Of course, look, I strongly recommend everybody don't try to jump in before that, because well, you don't have a crystal ball, right? I mean, and it's a little bit difficult to predict, because in a way it could actually, let's say the numbers come out, let's say, higher than the forecast, all of them, right? This would put pressure on the stock market. I mean, because that means that these guys right here, this number here, could drop maybe a little bit lower. Maybe the increase, there would be a chance for a 25 basis point hike, which is maybe, you know, during the meeting next week. But again, I doubt that next week something will change. I think that they will keep the interest rate as it is. But I think that yes, they will keep a close eye on today's number. And if that, let's say, gets out of hand, let's say it comes out much higher than the forecast, then yes, it would be very interesting to see if during the next meeting, which would be on the 1st of November, they would raise rates. Because at the moment, the expectation is for just a second. Yes, for a no rise, no increase, but there is like this. Yes, there is a 38.2% idea that, or expectation that there could be an increase in during the November meeting. And look, if by somehow inflation comes out today, especially let's say the core one comes out much higher, well, that would be an indication for the Fed maybe to consider a rate hike on November 1st. And yes, then I think that the market will shift towards that idea. I doubt that for tomorrow or next week, during next week, they will do anything. However, of course, we always leave a room for surprises, but in general, I doubt that. Anyway, coming back to the technical picture, yes, as I said, I need to see that clearance of the of one of these trend lines in order to consider the next short-term directional move, and then we will take it from there. Oh, something that I didn't do in the chat room. Good morning, everyone. Yes, as always, this is something that I miss out all the time straight away. Look, coming back to the indices on S&P 500, look, we drifted back below the below that hurdle, and this is what I talked about yesterday. I said to you that I am kind of more excited with the upside from this level here, from this 4,542. If I get that breakout, then yes, wonderful, more buyers could join in. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 50-day EMA in order to consider lower levels. I got that. I received that, and now my question is, will it actually stick to that plan, or will it actually just start oscillating around the 50-day EMA, and will it just kind of, you know, not give us any clarity? Well, to be honest, I kind of doubt that. I think that the whole market is waiting already for something to happen here. So that's why we are going to take a very careful approach. We're just going to observe the price action. We're not going to rush into anything. We will wait until the number comes out, and then maybe we'll do something about it. But at this point, it is just suicidal, I think, to do anything. So just be a little bit more on the careful side. Look, if you get lucky, if you enter and you get lucky, okay, that's fine. You know, well, it's fine when you're lucky, right? It's fine when you are in profit. When you're in the bad situation, well, you always gonna go with the words "I told you so," right? So that's why, just, I don't know, judge it yourself. If you want to trade before that, okay, look, you can do whatever you want. Just have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose, and everything will be fine. So in that sense, so that's why I would say that's why I'm leaving this one for now. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, it's very interesting. Look, at the moment, as long as we remain below the 50-day EMA, then there is a good chance for this one to drift towards the 100-day EMA, shown as the green line, where we could also test this short-term tentative upside support line drawn from the low of the 18th of August. NASDAQ, very quickly on that one. So this one drifted back to the downside, tested the downside line again, kind of tested also the 50-day EMA, which all this combo provided a good area of support. And now my question is, can we see a rebound back up? Well, first of all, I need to get rid of some of these lines. These are a little bit in the way. And actually, I'm going to reuse this one. Recycle, guys. Always recycle. So yes, this will be my downside scenario. So if we do drop below the 15,157 territory, somewhere around here, which is marked by the is that the lowest point of September? Yes, that's the current lowest point of September. If we do fall below it, then yeah, I will consider a bit of a move to the downside towards the 100-day EMA or even below that. So let's keep an eye on it. For the upside, I need to see a push above the barrier right here, this one, the 15,600 territory. If we do get that, then yes, great, more buyers could join in. Long story short, I am keeping a close eye on these two levels. So for now, I'm just observing the price action. DAX. So yesterday we saw a nice, beautiful decline. So which is fine, which is okay, great. Yes, it drifted nicely away from the EMAs. So, and we're now, it seems like we're trying to get closer to the 200-day EMA, which is not far from my breakout point here, 15,511. So if we do fall below it, then yes, I will go a little bit to the downside. Look, I'm not saying anything. There is a chance for, let's say, to consider lower levels from around here, maybe. Let me just put it this way, from around this 15,000 kind of 600 zone. Yes, we could start looking, but the only thing is that there's not a lot of room, and it might drift lower. It might test the 200 EMA, might not, might come very close to it and then reverse back up. So that's why my ideal scenario is from around here in terms of aiming to the downside. For the upside, in order for me to aim higher, I would like to see a push above the downside line, above the 16,000 mark. If I get that, then yes, great. More buyers could join in. Then yes, it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. I mean, I get it. We're missing out on a lot of territory right here. If you do want to capture something around this this zone, well, maybe you could keep an eye on this little short-term tentative downside resistance line drawn from the high of the 31st of August. So at the moment, we only have 2 touches, but that's fine. If we do somehow pop above it, potentially this could clear the path towards slightly higher levels. But then, of course, you should not forget that maybe it's going to stall and end up stalling somewhere near these EMAs, the 100 and the 50-day EMAs, and then yes, maybe it will reverse back to the downside. So you need to kind of consider that, because like I said, this is not the ideal scenario for the for the upside, or at least for me, but we could start looking at some higher levels already from here. The FTSE 100. So so far so good, I would say, because we're stuck in this somewhat of a range, and we did get a few overshoots here. That's fine, but we're still stuck somewhat in the range here, and that's why I'm watching this one for now. In order for me to go higher or lower, look, at this point, if previously for me for the upside was enough to keep an eye on that 7,520 territory, for now I'm just kind of keeping on it as just a gauge for myself, you know. But actually, I'll get more excited with the upside if we do pop above the remaining EMAs right here and stay above them. Not only we get like a false breakout, no, but we also stay above those, and then we'll go from there. For the downside, now I think it's time to redraw this downside line and create an upside line from it. So something like this. So if you're looking for some lower levels, then yes, a drop below this upside line would be required, and then we could aim lower within the range, because don't forget that we're currently inside a range. Now let's jump into another index, and this one's a dollar index. So far, it's oscillating around this hurdle of mine. So this highest point of May of 2023, 104.61, approximately around there. So in a way, I said to you yesterday that this level is no longer seen as a good area for support or resistance. Now I'm just keeping an eye on it because we're oscillating around that level. So that's why, for me, the breakout points for the upside or the downside are these right here. So for the upside, I need to see a push over the 105.12 territory, because this way a forthcoming higher high will be confirmed. For the downside, a drop below the 105.25 territory could do the trick. Why? Because this could lead to a break of this upside line, and this maybe could signal a change in the direction of the short-term trend, and then we could consider a move towards the EMAs here on our daily chart. Now let's jump into gold. There we go, guys. There we go. I talked about this. I mentioned this yesterday to you. I said to you that if we do drop below the 200-day EMA, I'm leaning further south, and there we go. Look at this beautiful move. We drifted nicely to the downside. We fell below the 1915 level. And yes, this just kind of created a fantastic opportunity for the sellers. Now, can the sellers jump in again? I would say this way, that let's say as long as we stay below the 1915 territory, then yes, I will continue targeting the downside, because my next target is this 1903.04, or even better, the 1900 level. So the psychological 1900 level is something to be watched for, especially right now. So yes, like I said, as long as we remain below the 1915 territory, I am leaning towards the downside. For the upside, well, for the upside, I need to see a push above this downside line, and then we will kind of go from there. So this level here no longer needed. I think we can draw it this way. I think that we can then target this high, this 1930 zone. But again, for me to consider higher levels, I need to see a push above this downside line. Silver, so yes, drifting nicely to the downside as well. So so far so good. I talked about this yesterday. I said to you that I'm still leaning towards the downside. Why? Because overall we could be seen here in a nice big descending triangle pattern. So far I'm still targeting the lower side of that pattern. Honestly, pretty straightforward. And the most important is that this barrier here, I talked about this 22.83, said in order for me to consider lower levels, a break of that is needed, because a forthcoming lower low will be confirmed. Palladium, something that I've looked at previously last week, and I just wanted to give you a quick recap. So look, I talked about this. I said to you that we could be on a move lower, further move lower, because first of all, we have a range here, and the prevailing trend was to the downside, or is to the downside. We also were below this downside line. So in other words, we were forming something of a descending triangle pattern. And again, all this is kind of, pushing towards the idea of seeing lower levels. However, as I said to you before, I need to see that clearance. I need to see that clearance of this hurdle, of this 1,000 kind of 200 zone. I would need to see the body of the daily candle staying below it, and then yes, lower levels could be met. However, if we break the downside line, there is a chance for this one to push higher, but at this point I would rather wait for a push above the 50-day EMA in order to go towards the 100-day EMA, or even a little bit higher. But like I said, that's for now. Let's not rush into anything. Yes, we broke the downside line. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep it for now. But if somehow we start shifting back down, back below this 1,200 territory, then yes, I will get a little bit more comfortable with the downside. So, Oil. Let's have a look at oil. Boom. There we go. We popped above that 88 zone. I kept on mentioning this from last week. I said to you that, look, yes, we are a little bit maybe overextended here, but I would need to see it drop somewhere below this 84.90 territory in order to go lower. If I want to go higher, I need to see a push above the 88 zone. What did I get? A push above the 88 zone. Now I'm still aiming for that psychological 90 territory, $90 mark. Let's see if we can reach that. I do have this 90.10 level here, which is, by the way, the high of the 11th of November of last year, so good potential target. But to be honest, before that, I'm aiming for that psychological 90 zone. Wheat. I looked at this one previously, and I said to you that as long as we remain below this broken territory, which I've previously looked at as a support, if we continue to trade below that, then yes, my next target is the 573 point, well, roughly 38, but this 573 territory, that's my next target. Boom. Fantastic, good result. What's next? Well, next we are, like I said, this is the lowest point of May of this year, or in general, I think the lowest point of this year. And yes, we created a new low. Don't get me wrong. Yes, it's all fine. It's all good from the bearish perspective. But now my question is, can we actually rebound here and push back up, or will we go further south? But at this point, yes, I'm from the technical perspective. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, but I need that break. I need that break below that 573 territory. If we do push above the 622 zone right here, then yes, potentially we could open the door towards some higher levels. But to be, you know what, I might readjust this because this might maybe work this way, where this little hurdle could be in the way, the 616 zone. But again, let's not rush into that. For now, let's keep a close eye on this 573 territory to see what's going to happen with it. Jumping into Ethereum. So yesterday we got a bit of a retracement. Look, in general, so far with the Ethereum, everything's working out. So I said to you that if we do fall and stay below the 1620 territory, then yes, I'll go lower. My next target is the 1,493, and then we'll kind of take it from there. So long story short, so far the downside scenario is working out. Yes, we did retrace yesterday. That's absolutely fine. But we retraced, but we struggled with that 1620 territory. So again, previously it acted as a good area of support. Now it could take the role of resistance. So far it's doing that. So if we continue to struggle to overcome that barrier, then yes, the downside scenario is not off the table, where the next target could be that 1,493. Ripple is also struggling with this hurdle, the 0.4830. It's providing good resistance so far. So yes, I'm leaning towards the downside. There's not much to say here on the crypto. On the cryptos, yes, we did retracement yesterday, but if we struggled with this territory here somewhere, then well, what's the point of examining the upside? Let's jump into a few pairs. AUDJPY. So far so good. Look, we came closer to this 94.90 zone. That's fine. That's absolutely great. But yeah, for now, I mean, everything's working out according to the plan. The question is, can we pop above that 94.90 zone and go higher? Look, at this point, everything's possible, of course, but I'm keeping it short term. So for now, I'm just aiming for that 94.90 zone. If we clear it, great, I'll go higher. If we don't, then maybe we could see a drift lower. But for the downside, as I said to you before, I need to see a drop below the 93.59 level here, and then we could take it from there. So that's my game plan. For now, yep, I'm just sticking to that, and I'm not trying to kind of overcomplicate things here, because again, everything is already very, very complicated. NZDJPY. So there we go, so we exited the trend lines. Okay, so we can I can say that we can get rid of this downside line, and so far the upside one is doing a good job. However, yes, we cleared the one of the trend lines here, or actually both of them, and we exited the coiling up territory. But it's good that I've told you to keep an eye on these little hurdles, because so far they are providing very good support and resistance. Now, you can see that today we climbed higher, but we failed with this 87.14 level. We failed to break it. So that's why, yes, it kind of just puts more strength on it, and it kind of just confirms a little bit more my idea of waiting for a breakout through one of these highlighted zones. So that's what I'm going to stick to. CHFJPY, so I call it the battle of the safe havens. At the moment, it's vague. It's not really very interesting, but look, maybe it could be. Maybe if the stock market starts, let's say, pushing higher, strongly to the upside, then maybe we could see this pair also jumping a little bit higher. Because again, the Japanese yen is seen mostly as a safe haven, although Swiss franc is also a safe haven. But in this situation, I think that the Japanese yen would outweigh the outweigh the other safe haven, which is this Swiss franc. So that's why for now I'm keeping an eye on this. I can see that the 164 territory is providing good support, so that's great. But I think that maybe for just that extra confirmation, maybe a push above this downside line could do the trick. So if we do get that, then yes, I will go a little bit more to the upside towards my 166.60 territory or even higher. So a nice good pop up of the 166.60 zone would confirm a forthcoming higher high and potentially attracting more buyers into the game. For the downside, I need to see a drop below that 164 zone, but then of course I have a problem with this upside line, which could be a little bit in the way. But if that gets cleared, then yes, the next target is the 100-day EMA. USDJPY. So far so good. We're still holding above that 146.56 zone, so I keep on talking about it. Yes, I mean, let's put it this way, as long as we remain above it, I'm going to lean towards the upside. To be honest, the same analysis is valid. I'm not really saying anything new here. Oh, a fly is flying around here. I'm not saying anything new, but if I get a drop, back below the 146.56, then yes, I will consider a bit of a retracement here to the downside. USDCAD, so looking good. Yesterday we saw a continuation move south. Why? Because of oil, because of this little fella here. It sparked nicely to the upside, helping out the Canadian dollar as well against the US dollar. US dollar yesterday was, let's put it this way, kind of on the flat side, but and I think this is what the Canadian dollar bulls managed to take advantage of, and they've managed to push this pair a little bit to the downside. So we fell below the 1.3575 territory right here. But what's important, yes, we retraced, but we are still struggling with, to come back above it. So maybe this could be seen as a good area of resistance now. And I'll stick to that game plan. If we continue to trade below that hurdle, then yes, I will aim lower. But only up until here, up until that 1.35 territory. USDCHF, okay, looking beautiful here so far. I mean, we're still holding up nicely. We're holding up above this territory, above that 0.8975 zone, somewhere around here. So look, as long as we continue to trade above that area, then yes, I will continue aiming to the upside towards that 200-day EMA. If by any chance we fall below it, I will consider a larger correction here towards the downside, towards this upside line. So, and then we'll just gonna go from there. One of our viewers yesterday requested, but I think that the message came a little bit late, so apologies for that. But one of our viewers requested the US dollar against the Mexican peso. So the interesting bit is here that when last week I talked about this, when I said to you, look, I'm aiming higher, and if we were still in the range here, I said to you that if we do climb above the 50-day EMA, I'll aim for the 100-day EMA. If we climb above that one, I'll aim for the upper side of the range. If we climb above that one, then I'll go closer to this 200-day EMA, which we managed to get. So now we're getting a drift back to the downside. And the question is, will it actually remain lower here? Well, of course, that's a very good question. Who knows? But let's put it this way: as long as we stay below the upper side of the of this range, then yes, I will continue targeting the downside. For the upside, I need to see a push back above the upper side of the of this range, which I get it. It got violated, but for now, I'm just gonna keep it as until I don't have anything better than that. Yes, I'm gonna keep it on the chart. GBPCHF, something that I haven't looked for quite a while. Well, actually, for quite a while. Last week I talked about this one, and I said to look, maybe this is a rising channel, maybe it's a falling veg. Oh, sorry, a rising veg. If it's a rising veg, then it tends to break to the downside. But to be honest, even if it's a rising channel, the prevailing trend was to the downside, according to all the TA rules. In that case, we could see it could be seen as a continuation, like a continuation pattern. So it's like a temporary pause before a further decline. And it seems like we are now kind of coming very close to the lower side of this rising channel. So if we do clear it, great. I will go to the downside. I'll aim for the for this 1.1057 or even 1.1060 zone, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. So this is going to be my these are going to be my targets for now. If we break the lower side of this kind of formation, either it's a rising channel or is it a rising veg. Either way, I'm leaning towards the downside. But I get it. Look, you're saying why this is not really that you're not aiming for that much. You're only aiming for here because this has been a very good, strong area of support, and I have seen this happening in the past where you're kind of very sure that it's going to be like a rising veg, and then it breaks down, but actually finds support somewhere a little bit lower here, and then reverses and goes back up. So basically, it kind of screws up the traders, and traders get lost out on this one. So that's why if we do clear this territory, that's fantastic. We'll go lower. I'm going to aim for something around here or maybe here, and then we'll take it from there. But at this point, look, I'm just going to go slowly, step by step. Florence Okeva, good morning to you too. I'm happy to see you here. I'm happy to see everybody else who's tuning in. I can see you there, but I can see you only there as a number, basically. So yes, but if you're out there, good morning to you too. I hope you're having a wonderful start of the Wednesday the 13th. So yeah. So now then, GBP Aussie, it's also interesting. And look, I'm still sticking to the same game plan. I am just observing the price action, waiting until I'm going to get a clear breakthrough one of these trend lines, and then I'm going to consider the next short-term directional move. EURNZD, so this one's interesting, as you can see yourselves. So I talked about this a lot, and basically what I said to you that look, we have an upside line. We have actually a bunch of upside lines here. All of them are tentative. You all have like only apart from this one, the steepest one. It got tested the third time. We saw a rebound, but now we're struggling with the upper side of the falling channel. So yes, it's a very, very beautiful formation. So that's why for now I would say this way, that if we do break the upper side of this falling channel, then great, I'll go to the upside. If we don't, the downside scenario is still not off the table. But for that one, we need to see at least a break of this upside line drawn from the low the 13th of July. EURCAD, this one drifted nicely to the downside. Mission accomplished. Look, my 200-day EMA got reached, so hey, now I can chill, now I can rest and watch this one. So if I want to go lower, a drop below this 200-day EMA for me is required. While it remains in here somewhere, I'm not really interested. It's just going to be like bouncing around a little bit. This upside line got broken, so yes, and this has been quite a long one. This has been drawn from the low of the 25th of August. So, and look at this, we broke the upside line here. So now I think we can start drawing the downside one, taken maybe from this high of the 4th of May. And then we will just take it from there. So if you're looking for some higher levels, a push back of all of the EMAs is required. But then don't get too happy. The bulls should not get too happy about it because we have this downside line, which could be a little bit in the way. Oh, you know what I didn't do as well? I didn't put a name on my yes, on my webinar today. So let's put it a short one, but straight to the point. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's save it this way. And U.S. inflation day to day. Yep. Something to keep an eye on. I think that yes, to be honest, there are some other data sets that are coming out. So, for example, from UK, we got some numbers. We got the GDP figures. Oh, by the way, just a quick view. What's happening with the yes, we're seeing a bit of a decline in GDP because in GBP because the GDP declined. UK's GDP fell. It failed to meet expectations, and not only that, look, the month-on-month figure came out at minus 0.5. The forecast was for a minus 0.2 only because the previous number was at plus 0.5. So the previous number is at plus 0.5. It comes out at minus 0.5. Wow, that's not good. And then the year-on-year figure came out 0 because the previous number was at plus 0.9. It came out at plus, or I'm not sure. I should not say plus, just 0. Industrial production fell. Manufacturing production managed to increase a little bit. Trade balance improved a little bit as well. Okay. Basically, it's just the GDP that kind of screwed up a little bit, and we are seeing that nice, beautiful decline here. And yes, in GBP, and that's one of the reasons. Okay, so look, if you're trading the pound today, just be careful because even if we do see a retracement in the pound, maybe it could still remain under selling pressure just because of the kind of the bad GDP and UK GDP number. EURNZD, as I said, this is the situation. I'm waiting for a clearance here and there. EURCAD also, I'm waiting for a drop now below the 200-day EMA in order to go lower. Yes, for the upside, yes, I said to you before that this is the area that I'm watching, so I need to see a push above all of my EMAs in order to go higher. EURJPY, we broke the downside line, and then now the question is, can we see a move to the upside here if we do pop above this 158.52? So first of all, I said to you yesterday that if we do break above this downside line, I'll go higher. Yes, we made that move. Now we can see that there is an obstacle which is in our way to the upside. So we need to see a clearance of that one, the 158.52, in order to go higher, in order to aim for that 159.77 territory right there. For the downside, I'm still sticking to the same game plan. A drop below this 156.87 territory is required. And finally, EURUSD, guys. So far, so good. Look, this hurdle, this highlighted zone is providing fantastic resistance. I talked about this, so now I would say in order for me to go higher, I need to see a push above that 1.0766 territory. In order for me to go lower, a drop below the 1.0686 territory is needed. And then we will take it from there, guys. So a nice good drop below that would confirm a forthcoming lower low and potentially could attract more sellers into the game. For the upside, as I said, this 1.0766 is something that I'm keeping an eye on. Then, yes, we could target this downside line, and then we could take it from there. If we do break this downside line, yes, certainly it could open the door to some higher levels. But at this point, I think that we should remain a little bit on the careful side. Look, we do have the US CPIs coming out today. If those come out somehow negative for the dollar, well, guess what? EURUSD could end up traveling to that downside line and testing it, and then we will take it from there. So guys, that's it for this session. I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I really appreciate that, guys, that you decided to come over and kill an hour of your life with me, and honestly, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. I hope you found it useful. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, just to let you know that there won't be any Daily Pitch International on Friday, so we will only do the I'll only do the one on Thursday tomorrow, and yes, we will resume normally next week, of course. But yes, join me tomorrow. Really, like I said, really happy to see you here today. Tomorrow 6 o'clock GMT time, but for today, wait for the data to come out. Don't risk too much. Risk only what you can afford to lose. Have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. If you want to continue to please the trading gods, subscribe to our channel for a blessing.